Welcome to Medill Sports Talk, where we break down the news this week for the sports you love. I'm Brianna Williams, and today I'm joined by Yahn and Daniel Comer to discuss some of the biggest trades going down before the NBA trade deadline. In the most shocking trade of the week, the Los Angeles Clippers sent Blake Griffin to Detroit in exchange for Tobias Harris, Avery Bradley, and Boban Marjanovic. They also received a first-round pick in 2018 and a second-round pick in 2019. Connor, who do you think got the better end of the deal?
Well, when you look at this, both teams got what they wanted out of it, but I think you have to give the nod to Detroit because they got the proven star in this deal. And Stan Van Gundy said it himself, getting a superstar is the hardest thing to do in the NBA, especially for a team like Detroit when you're not attracting a guy of Blake Griffin's caliber in free agency. So when you look at this deal, they've got the stability. Although the Clippers got a good haul, they don't have a direction really. They're going to make a play in free agency, but who are they going to get? They're the Clippers. They're not the Lakers. So,
Dan, this pretty much closes the book on the Lob City era in LA. Where do the Clippers even go from here?
I love what the Clippers did here. I think they opened up some flexibility moving forward for them. That Blake Griffin contract was reprehensible. And now what they did there, they traded him at peak value. They got Tobias Harris back. I think they're going to continue to strip down this roster towards the trade deadline. And once they do that, they're going to bolster their chances to get a high pick in the NBA draft. So if you look at what the Clippers did, they stripped down a team, they stripped down a core that they knew wasn't going to make a championship, and that was the best option they had.
Connor, you did say the trade was even in your eyes, but did the move actually do enough to put the Pistons in playoff contention this year?
this year, I don't think so, just because before the trade, they went on an 8-game losing streak, and so that really puts them in a tough spot. And you look at the teams in front of them. The East is a lot better this year. You look at what Victor Oladipo's done in Indiana. The Sixers are much improved with Embiid and Simmons. And so it's just, while Blake and Drummond are trying to find their chemistry, it's going to take some time, especially with Reggie Jackson out. So this year, it's going to be a bit of a stretch, but in the future years going forward, I like the stability that they've built. So
you mentioned that they lost 8 straight games until leading up to this trade. They lost 8 straight games, and they're still only half game back for that 8th seed in the East. And the team that they're really competing with is the 76ers. That's a very young team. That's a young squad. And the stars on that squad, they have injury history already. You're looking at Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid. How are they going to stack up once the fatigue of an entire season gets to them? I think that the Pistons have the best chance going forward. They have an easier strength of schedule. The Philadelphia 76ers have the hardest strength of schedule in the NBA moving forward. And I believe that that's going to propel the Pistons to making the playoffs this year. But the future for that team, I'm not so sure about.
All right, guys, while we're on the East, let's talk about the Cleveland Cavaliers, who are 6-10 since their Christmas Day loss to the Warriors. Now, Dan, they do have some assets to trade, including a Brooklyn Nets pick in 2018. But who can Cleveland realistically bring in to enhance their playoff contentions this year?
Realistically, who can they bring in? Probably no one. I think maybe the ghost of Michael Jordan, maybe Kyrie from last year. That would be fantastic if they could bring one of those guys in. But there's nothing that I believe this team can do to challenge the Warriors in the playoffs. They might be able to beat the Celtics, but they're not going to challenge the Warriors. If they were going to look at a player, maybe a guy like Kemba Walker, someone who can take the scoring burden off LeBron. But what you're going to have to do there is you're going to have to trade that Brooklyn pick. And that's one thing that I'm not sure that Cleveland's willing to do without a guarantee that LeBron's going to stay after the season. You could also look at a guy like Marc Gasol, but it's really a toss-up here.
Understandable.
I think, they have to get rid of that Nets pick. It's likely not even to be in the top 5. And you need to make clear to LeBron that you are committed to continuing this run. You have to go out, maybe get a guy like DeAndre Jordan. The Clippers are selling, so go get him. Go make it clear that you're here to win now. Bolster that defense that's currently rated at 28th in the league. So, they need help inside, especially with Kevin Love out. And you need to go maybe get some wing help too. Get Kent Bazemore maybe, or a George Hill. Maybe get Tony Allen after a buyout. You need some defensive help on the wing and inside.
Right. Yeah. That team is all in. They've traded their assets in the past, and they're stacked up against it now. You have to go all in with that Nets pick. If you don't, you're basically all in, but you're folding on the river.
Well, both of you pretty much have some very interesting ideas. But let's open up now to the rest of the NBA. So, for both of you, what trade do you guys think we'll see before the deadline actually passes next week?
Well, I think that the Celtics are going to be active. I mean, they're obviously the 1 seed right now. They've already made a play for Greg Monroe. They got him after he was bought out of his Phoenix contract. But I think they still need to get another scoring threat to take some pressure off of Kyrie. You know, he's not going to have a great night every game of a 7-game series throughout the playoffs. So you need to get a guy, maybe like a Tyreek Evans, maybe a Lou Williams. He might be a little too costly, but somebody that can take the pressure off of Kyrie. And then you look at the Washington Wizards with John Wall out. They likely need to get an upgrade at their backup point guard position so he can fill in the time while John Wall's out. So maybe they're looking for a guy like a Jarrett Jack or even George Hill potentially. So someone there.
You could definitely see these guys are on the move. I agree with you, Connor. Lou Williams probably going to be gone from the Clippers. Like I said before, they're stripping down. Another guy you got to look at, Tyreek Evans, is gone. I mean, he's already been sitting out these games recently, and they're basically saying a trade is imminent. But one thing to think about when you're looking at these players, in the NBA at least, there's not a lot of parity. There's these top 4 or 5 teams that are looking to increase their chances at a championship, but there's a bunch of other teams looking to sell to increase their odds of getting a high draft pick. So I'd keep an eye on those teams more so. Who's going to be offloading assets? Who's going to be tanking versus all the teams that are really chasing that championship this year? With the Warriors there, teams know this 3 or 4 year window might not be for them, so they're looking to build for the future.
All right, guys. Well, the February 8th deadline is rapidly approaching, and we'll just have to see what players end up being traded. But that'll do it for us this week. Make sure to check out the other segments from MST Episode 5 on our YouTube channel. Follow us on Twitter, Medill Sport Talk, and make sure to like, subscribe, and comment. For Connor, Dan, and everyone behind the camera, I'm Brianna Williams, and thanks for watching.